folks. Hey everybody. I'm just getting my audio going here. Hopefully this sounds okay. And then we will roll into some artwork. Grab this too. Get my links out here. All right, one, and let's do two here. All right. And there's two. Let's do one more. So I'm going to take everybody through the whole issue tonight. So if you have not read it, don't watch it because there's be a lot of spoilers in here. So just saying that up front. Don't watch if you haven't already read the SCHLUB #1. I guess I'm not going to be actually reading the word balloons, so there is still some mystery. All right, we are almost there, everybody. I hope some folks that are here joining us have read the SCHLUB. If you have, I'd love to hear what you think. Unless you hated it, in which case, don't tell me anything. Hey, I'm Brunson. MET Shannon. Awesome, thanks for joining in. Just get some of this stuff set up here. Close these curtains. I know some of you guys have definitely read it. Wait for a couple more people here. It is hot, hot, hot in Chicago. Boy, oh boy. And I turn off my AC while I do these so it's not too disturbing for everybody. All right. So, who read the SCHLUB #1? Let me know. I had a chance to do a signing at Chicago, or it's Challengers Comics here in Chicago, and talked to some folks, which was really fun. Thanks to everybody who came out. I'm going to be doing another signing in Iowa, Bettendorf, this weekend on Saturday. So in this issue comics, I'll be there on Saturday. So yeah. Oh, MET Shannon, you read the Ash Can. Awesome. Yes, and you got your physical copy now. The Ash Can was very cool. I gave one of those to a couple of my friends, and a couple of them read it, and a couple of them were like, no, I want to wait for the full color. So I think it can hit both ways. So these pages that I'm going to show you are all from issue #1. I'm going to take everybody through the whole thing. And they will all be for sale on my website very soon. If you want to be the first to find out when the pages go on sale, sign up for my newsletter, tyrellcannon.com, and the newsletter subscribers will find out first when they go live. So if you are eyeing any of these pages and you really want to have them, that's the best way to do it. Also, that's where I announce my commission lists, so get on that list as soon as you can. This is the Virgin variant right here. I love it. I love the Virgin variant. Not that I don't love the logo and everything. It's great, but it's kind of cool to see a comic with no logo on it. It isn't what you're used to seeing, so that sort of right away draws you in. And then a lot of this beautiful pink got covered up with the logo, so I kind of like seeing all that. So Stinker Buns, you read it, had a good time. Like to hear it. Like to hear it. So here's kind of like a side by side. You can see colored versus black and white. I'm working everything is on 11 by 17. Then shrunk down, normal comic book size. I usually draw in the normal sort of dimensions for everything, so I'm not too weird in that regard. I am monkeying around with some different sizes these days, but not on the SCHLUB. So yeah, this is the first issue. The cover, I probably drew this cover after I'd already drawn most of issue 1 and 2, and so I had a good sense of the characters by now. Let's see. Do I do all my art by hand? I do use digital to some degree. So what I will do is I'll do my layouts, and actually this will be fun. We'll see if this shows up. I'll show you guys kind of what the layouts look like. Oh, you can't see that one. that's secret stuff there. That's issue 6. Let me see if I got issue 1 on here somewhere. So I do my thumbnails digitally. So when I'm working on, an issue, I'll do sort of these kind of rough layouts. I call them thumbsels. They're kind of between pencils and thumbnails. Sometimes they get really detailed. Sometimes it's a little looser. And so I do all this on the iPad, and then I print that. It's maybe hard to see, but I'll print it in like blue lines onto the paper, and then I use pencil and ink on top of that. And so on my original art, at least for this series, you can see there's blue lines behind it, which they don't reproduce when you scan it in. You can just knock them out. But those lines are coming from these thumbnails. So I could probably actually just pull up thumbnails for the different things while we go through them. But yeah, you can kind of get a sense of how that works. Yeah, the colors look really good on that Virgin variant. So yeah. Anyway, here, let me move these out of the way. So let's jump into the issue. I just kind of wanted to walk through. This is very casual. If anybody has questions at any moment, let me know. But I was just kind of going to go through the pages and kind of tell you anything I thought was interesting about them. This cover was definitely an homage to a few different things. I mean, the first homage is sort of to the Hulk, the classic Hulk cover with Banner and the Hulk. But the proportioning of all that is a lot different on this, and then the addition of background elements. And I wanted the background elements to sort of evoke, like city destruction stuff, like Akira and things of that sort. And then I wanted a really strong sort of, shape on the two guys to kind of bring your eyes in there. So really happy with how this one turned out. I'm really, really happy with how this one turned out. It's hard for me to believe that this is I have a cover for an image book, and here it is. It's been a dream for so long to have an image book. So that one was really fun. I did enjoy that. I finished that one early in the year. And here's page 1, the gross inside the mouth shot. This was crazy. I looked at a few different things when I was trying to figure it out. It was hard to get reference photos. I realized through conversations with other people that a movie I've definitely seen, Little Shop of Horrors, has a shot like this. And I wish I had known that when I was drawing, or remembered that when I was drawing this, because I kind of invented everything from just the little bit of reference I could get. And then there is an issue of Punisher that has a little kind of inside mouth shot. And so I looked at that a little bit too. When it comes down to it, there's only so much reality you can put in, and honestly, you don't. In my work, I don't like to be too realistic. I want it to feel, like it has an enhanced reality to it. So, at some point, you start to veer away from what your reference is of the inside of a mouth, and just find your own way for drawing the different shapes and the different, how you want to render the teeth and all that. And that's when you start veering away from reality and just doing your own sort of interpretation of what you maybe had in mind as a reference. And that's why I try never to work over photos or anything either, as little as possible, because I think it sucks some of that life out. Page 2, we got Roger in his office. So on the original art, you can see a lot of things that you probably can't see in the comic, and I know this going in. But the thing I don't have all the time is the word balloons when I'm drawing the pages, because the script is kind of loose as far as what the actual dialogue will be. And so I just fill everything. I just I I want to put details in there, and that I know some of them will be covered by word balloons, but it's kind of, I never know where the word balloons are going to go, A, and then B, I just think it makes the original art that much more fun and cool to look at. So in this one, he's got a bunch of stuff all over his tables. He's got like food all over the place, napkins on the floor. It's kind of gross in his office. I figured it can't be totally gross, but the last thing you probably want your dentist to be doing while he's working on your teeth is like leaning over to eat a sandwich or something. So I went ahead and made Roger have all that going on. And drawing a dentist chair was something I never thought I would have to do, but that's kind of a lot of comics, but especially this comic, is I'm drawing a lot of things I never thought I would draw. But I did use reference, but at some point, again, I was like, well, that's what the chairs really look like, but here's the way I want to draw it to kind of stylize it and stuff. So, check in with the chat here. Love the color. Yeah, thank you. Hey, Marcus. Thank you. And then we get the first look at Sarah, his ex-wife. Now, I'm really excited for people to keep reading the book, because Sarah shows up a lot more, and I feel like I only get to draw her like once here. And I definitely found her look and her face and the way I wanted to draw it as the series goes on. And she's a really fun character that I like. She's a cool character that I really think is one of the big hearts of the book. So there was a lot of pressure to get her right here, but I was like, well, it's only one panel. I'll do my best, and then she'll evolve as time goes on. And then also figuring out like how to do like what the billboards look like. It's like in my head I kind of knew what billboards looked like, but I had to look at a little bit of reference and then sort of just fudge it a little bit to work. I was pretty happy with this page. This page is, again, I think I've heard some comments from some people that the stuff feels, maybe the word I've heard is cartoony or exaggerated, but I'm totally cool with that, because that's what I'm going for. I've done more realistic styles in the past, but it's so much more interesting and fun if you can do things that comics can do, like distort faces and put these little effects bubbles to indicate that she's getting a little high on the nitrous. I liked, actually, the fun thing on this page was the different effects stuff. So these little NOS things, the little bubbles, and then all the tools all over her, and then the jiggle of the pen and the whirring of the drill. Those were fun. And then I got to do Roger kind of shaking here. It's like he's feeling the ground shake. And then I also got to do some of my sort of action-y shapes, accent shapes. So it's just a scene of two people talking, or I guess one person talking, but I wanted it to still have some interesting things going on. And I'm still finding Roger here. I'm really happy with how he looks here, but he definitely evolves as the pages go on. All right, and here is the 2-page spread. The script had this as thanks Hollifield for that. Hey Adam, good to see you. So this 2-page spread is the first introduction of Cirrus and Worm. So, it's kind of cool because it's a 2-page spread, but it's also the introduction of our hero and our villain. And so I wanted this to have a big impact, and I wanted it to kind of do all the things that Kenny and Ryan and I had talked about for the book. They wanted it to feel funny and extreme, but also for the action to be really cool and awesome action. So you have this insane superhero fight, but it's sort of happening, interrupting this regular life, this enhanced regular life of like a gross dentist situation and all this stuff. And, the sandwiches are flying, the tongue depressors are flying, Roger's trash bin is flying over here. And so you've got all these elements of sort of like relatable reality, and then this like crazy giant superhero battle like bursting in through the wall. And I've always liked the contrast between the regular people, like normal humans, and like superhero characters in other comics. So I was excited to kind of do that in this. So this spread was really fun. It was a special one for me because it was the first page where I got to draw these characters and show Ryan and Kenny especially just what we could do with it, or like what I thought I could bring to the table, and I hope that they liked it. Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, I like to put details in. I was actually so this page I was really happy with too. The whole idea was that it would be sort of a shot counter shot, or like a cutaway to the this big battle is happening, and then you cut to her eyes as she follows it back and forth through this little room, and then you get sort of a POV shot from the woman in the dentist chair right here. So you see this catch that breaks the panel from her eyes, and then the smoke kind of brings you over. He's talking to her about signing this thing, and then that brings you right back over to her eyes again, and then down. I like to think about how the action comes through the page. So not just the way the panel layouts can do that, but the actual positioning of the characters. So, here, it's like you want to have a through line, and we're following this relic here, and so it's like with her eyes, and then you have these like shapes that hopefully kind of track you through the page along with the action. And then, when we get the word balloons and they're in the right spots, which they usually 99.9% of the time are with John, it's like, I should just say 100% of the time, but, John does a great job of matching sort of these directions that I've got rolling through the pages. So I was pretty happy with this page. And I've been playing more with the gutterless panel breaks, and especially in action scenes where it can feel really chaotic. And I was like, well, let's just make it super chaotic and get rid of the gutters. And it's been sort of a fun thing to play with. And then here is another one where I tried to do some interesting things with the panels. I like to play with panels flying through other panels, and the the panel here function. There's two panels, like these panels overlap to show this is moving through space, and then I have it bonk against the panel border and then fall into there. I think there's a lot of stuff in mainstream comics right now that isn't really doing things like this. I didn't invent this kind of stuff, but I like to do it. And I think there's a much more, the storytelling in a lot of modern comics feels very like it's trying to represent a reality within the panels. And that's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that. It just seems like that's sort of what's in right now. And I tend to like the stuff that takes full advantage of like panels and how they can be objects, but also indicators of time and space. Not to be too pretentious, but that's how I feel about it. That's honestly how I feel about it. I think it's the stuff that makes comics special. So I try to play with that as much as I can on these pages. On this page, other than that, I was pretty happy with Worm's expression right here when he sees it. They're both like, "Oh my God, don't push that button." And I liked that I could take him from like an evil face to like a sort of a oh face. And then this is the page. This is where the body swap happens. The most important page probably in the first issue. This page was really fun. I got to it's the first time I got to draw them in each other's bodies. And yeah, you like that finger, man? Yeah. I got to draw them in each other's bodies, and so I really wanted to get that difference in the posture right away of like he's kind of more hunched over and his knees are more inturned, whereas Sirius is surprised, but he's still in sort of a heroic stance, and then start to just see how that plays out. And that's like been one of the most fun things in the book, is to think about, we've got this crazy powerful superhero. Now what is he gonna do? Like, what would it be like if someone who doesn't have the same connection with that body is inhabiting it? And what does it look like if a non-super person has a superpower person's body? And so it's not always just funny, but sometimes it's maybe just the way I have him stand, or the way he throws a punch, or those kind of things. I want the he's got to grow into understanding how to be a heroic character. This was an interesting effect I tried up here. I'm not sure if I love the border here, but I like these little Jim Lee style, Jack Kirby-ish. It's more the Jim Lee style that I was going for, like these little chunky outburst things. And then Mike really did a great job coloring that page. That page turned out really nice. Again, like I said, spoilers. So if you haven't read the book, there's spoilers here. I'll try to keep the story beats, not too detailed. I was happy with how these effects around his hands went. I wanted to try to make them feel three-dimensional. So that turned out all right. And then this little smack, I was really happy with that too. And Mike nailed it on the colors. He gave these little color holds on the energy spikes from his shoulder plate and wristband. And then the way this the wall sort of does this domu style circular thing, I love that. I love doing that. So whenever I can work in a good like circular explosion, I try to do that. And then I like this little worm back here too. That's actually turned out all right. So here's so early on in the design process, Kenny and I were talking about the design of the costume, and I thought if I had these little venting parts on the armor, it would be a cool way to show that he's expended power, or that his power was just used and so it's smoking, or it's letting off steam, or that's glowing when he's doing his powers. And so this was one of the first spots where I got to show, okay, like maybe after he throws a punch or something, there's like an off-gassing of, a steam let out from his armor plates. I don't have a further explanation than that for you, but I thought it looked cool, so. Hey, BMC Comics, this is a little walkthrough here we're doing of the SCHLUB original art from issue 1, so there are spoilers if anybody has not read the issue. Honestly, if you want to keep watching, I don't care, just go buy the issue and get number 2 as well. Final order cutoff for number 2 is September 4th. So this page, more fighting. They gave me lots of fighting to do. And the thing I was most interested in this page was this like sort of strobed action here, where you have the two characters in two different positions kind of in the same panel, but then breaking it here. And so I'm really, as I was mentioning, really into sort of the flow of action. So, so if you have a word balloon here, you see Sirius looking up at him. He pulls you back down, you catch his look, knees over here, and then the action is in the middle of the panel, and then both sides are where each character goes from there. So their interaction is here, villain flips that way, hero flips that way. So that turned out pretty cool, I think. And I really love this hand, actually, right here behind his foot. I like that hand quite a bit. And then I thought it was funny if this panel was upside down, because it's from his point of view. It's a stupid joke, but I thought it would be funny. All right. Here is, make some room here. Here is a page that there's a few interesting things on that might get lost in the printing process. So I won't give away all the Easter eggs in here, but there's a few Easter eggs in here. And one of them is that this is me and maybe a version of my daughter that's a little older than she is now. So here's me in my own comic and saving my daughter from the explosion here. You can also see Roger's name on the door here, so it's his office. This was a funny moment. He's attacking him with a dental drill, which is ridiculous, but then it's kind of scary in a way to the villain, because dental drills scare everybody. And I did my own effects here. So John does a lot of the effects, but sometimes I will, if I have a specific thing in mind, or if I can work it into the design of the page, I'll do an effect. So on this page, there's effects by John, I think, right down here, but then I did these ones here of the drill. And then this is I'm actually happy with this explosion too, because I let the lines lie where they are instead of overworking it. Just big. Those are fun. These are fun explosions to draw. So that one was cool too. And then here is one of my favorite pages from the first issue. I think the panel the description in the book on the script was Sirius or Roger. I guess it's Roger at this point. Roger and Worm fight their way through the building, or through the floors of the building, or something like that. But it was like one page, and then there was something about the conversation between Roger and Sirius here. And so I was like, well, what if the whole page is kind of a cutaway of the building, and then you see through the building as the action's happening. And then so you establish that the floors are panels, but then on the top panel, the proportions are, the scale is different because it's a zoomed in shot, because it's kind of functioning as a floor of the building, but also a panel that can represent another space, And then that's the panel break here. I kind of liked, and then through, and you can see all the stuff in the different floors. So this is the dentist's office. This is some sort of boutique store, and then down here to the bottom, Um, yes, Adam, dental drills. Nobody likes that sound. And then back here, I don't know if any of this shows up, but I got like a dude jogging, and I have a. I like to make up fake names for, or like spoof names of stores. So this is Small Greens instead of Walgreens. Small Greens back here. Um, I liked all these glass shattering. I wish I had done a little more glass, but I probably don't need more. And of course, I had to put some birds in there to show scale. The oldest trick in the book. But this page was really fun. Trad Moore and Frank Quietly are really big influences on me, and this is an example of sort of the kind of thing that I like in their work that I try to experiment with in my own as well. Hey, Ellie. Hey, Cottenham. Thank you guys for joining in. Yeah, Thursdays with Tyrell today, yeah. Page 13, another action page. We had a lot of action in this first issue, man. I was, I was on board when I read the script. There was a lot of action. I was like, great. I don't want to draw people standing around talking all the time. Now that can be interesting too, and we do have some good talking scenes in future issues. But opening with action was important. So I hit the lady from the earlier pages on the nitrous. She's back here, rolling out down through the building. I really like Worm here, just kind of breaking and barely at the edge of the panel, like he just grabs him from off screen almost. And then a throw, and then there was this little cut in here of Roger's brother and dad's billboard across the street. So I like when the kind of insert panels have a different sort of directionality than the ones they're intersecting with. So there's like boom, boom, and then boom. So it sort of changes the direction of the action. I've got these two connected with this diagonal, and then sort of a pause twist here, and then an open panel border here as he gets enraged. So this one was fun. I really like how I drew her back here too. That's my favorite. This is my favorite panel on this page. It's pretty fun. Okay, and then here Roger loses his temper here in his new body, and we see the devastating effects. Yeah, just wanted the big sort of energy explosion. I was looking at a lot of Jim Lee X-Men when I was drawing this page, and that's probably why I went with this kind of big shot of him here with his arm all tore up. They said I asked the guys when we were working on this. I was like, okay, so how much violence do we want to go with, and like, do we want to be like really gory, or do we want to be more silly, or like what's the tone? And I think Kenny and Ryan both were kind of like, whatever you think, or what do you want to draw? I think that's what it was. Ryan's like, well, how do you want to draw it? And I said I'd like to do a little bit of stuff that feels maybe a little more brutal. There's spaces where you can do fun things like this bounce here. So here's a great example, actually. This, to me, feels like a dramatic kind of action depiction. This bounce here of Worm landing feels kind of funny and a little more cartoony to me. But then you come down here, and the expression on his face plus the damage you see on his arm is super brutal. And this is all the dichotomy that we wanted here. This is all the kind of differences we wanted here, I think, or at least that I wanted. I wanted the book to have the ability to jump the tones. And then we go down to the final panel where it's like people cheering for him and taking pictures with their phones. It sort of brings it to more of a real world sort of style. So pretty cool. Like the guys are very open to that, and I think we agreed we weren't. On the first issue we probably shouldn't have stuff that's like insane, for violence. But we do not shy away from the violence as the book goes on. Just no spoilers, but there's lots of fighting, lots and lots of fighting. I'm really happy with how I drew him here. He feels like Roger in Sirius's body to me. It feels like he has a different way of standing and reacting than a superhero would in this situation. So I'm pretty happy with how that one turned out. And I can't say enough, I guess I'll just take a second here, about how great Mike did coloring these pages. He does really cool stuff. Let me show you with the copy here that just really enhances the artwork. Where did I put it? I can't find a copy of my own comic in my house. Oh, it's over here. Okay, so let's check this out. See here, it's like a simple page, but you know, he's really smart about using like mid-tones and then, or like more desaturated stuff and then more of poppy stuff to kind of lead you through the panels. And the way he colored this page was super rad too. And then John's cocoon here is pretty awesome. But yeah, and the way he colored this, he gave each panel a different sort of color scheme as you go through, so it enhances what I was trying to do by making each panel a different floor and a different piece of the action. So it's been really fun working with Mike. I've liked his work for a while, and I've been very impressed with everything he's doing. Here we go. Yeah, panels and acting as floors. Yeah, thank you. He looks straight up demigod. Yes, I wanted him to seem like massive. You know, I want him to be bigger than anybody else. You know, I don't like it if like the idea of Superman just being normal looking. I guess there's something interesting about that, but I like how dangerous and scary and unsure it would feel to have someone who's like 8 feet tall and 500 pounds stomping through your neighborhood, right? Like fighting crime. You know, it would be terrifying. But he's also a celebrity, right? So these people, they're taking pictures of him, not like, you know, not like running away in fear because they know who he is. But when you get inside a body like that, I assume that the power would be almost overwhelming, which is what we sort of see happen a little bit here. He starts to levitate here. I wish I had drawn his feet a little different, but I like the levitation effect. I was looking at Akira when I was drawing that. And then this shot, these are the kind of shots right here that, oh yeah, thanks guys. Oh, glad you're liking it, Shannon. Thank you for, yeah, thank you guys. So this is like, this shot here took the longest probably to figure out on this page. Maybe it's one of the ones that took the longest in the book. And it doesn't seem like a big panel, but it's like we wanted to show that they were on a roof. Like the description of the moment was they're on a roof, they see the destruction that's been caused from earlier, and we see the brothers' billboard back there, and they're having a conversation, and like a lengthy conversation. So it's like you have to make all that stuff clear, and how to find the right angle for that and put it all in perspective. That was a really tricky one. And you end up doing fudges, like I put them on sort of a diagonal building. You know, that was maybe, I don't know, the design of the building had it as a diagonal or something. And then you got to show some emergency vehicles because they would have showed up, but then that means you got to draw emergency vehicles and how big and small do you want to make them, and you know, and then how do you find a balance between light and dark so that the whole thing doesn't look flat. This one was really hard. And it's such a throwaway panel, but it took me a long time to figure that one out. And yeah, the smoke and everything, definitely. Here's another little sound effect I did, crunch. I'm really happy with that crunch. He's crushing stuff. That one was pretty fun. So if you guys are enjoying this, maybe I can do another one in the second issue. So let me know if this is at all interesting. And then here we get like a montage page of different sort of possible futures and possible pasts being described. So we see Max Terra, which is Sirius's homeworld, and I've had a lot of people ask, is there going to be more Max Terra? And the answer is, yeah, there's going to be more Max Terra, for sure, for sure. Everything cool in this is only expanded upon in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth issues. I'm working on issue 6 right now. And anything that's cool, I've been able to really dive in and make it a little cooler, I think. So, you know, I got to draw some futuristic cities. That's always fun. I got to do sort of a moody chains thing. Gory, a little gory. Since here we got people on spikes. You know, not in your face gore. I'm happy with how these skulls turned out. This panel has a lot of whiteout on it. I couldn't get the pose of this person here correct. and then I kept not knowing how to light it so that he stood out from the foreground and background. So there was a lot of back and forth on this one. It's covered in that, and you can see my blue pencil over it as I drew it again. And then some of you might recognize this Yahoo down here running away in the Murder Falcon shirt. All right, here we go. A couple more pages. Here's page 18. Here we have a talking scene, and they are tricky, but at the same time, they're like a fun challenge to do and a nice little moment. I look at them as a nice place to have some breathing room after like one of those big action scenes. Like, how do I slow it down a little bit? So I tend to turn my panels back to more of a traditional, not traditional, but just like a straight on angle, 90-degree panel borders instead of 45 degrees or whatever, something that's a little more stable and calm. And then use panel interruptions more for dramatic moments instead of, purely aesthetic moments. I do my best. It's tricky. And we make a lot of mistakes. This is actually a Band-Aid panel here. So I learned this trick a long time ago from, I don't know if it was a conversation or interview with Anders Nilsson, who's an awesome comic book artist. He does a book called Tongues right now, but a lot of people know him for Big Questions and Don't Go Where I Can't Follow and The End. Anyway, so this panel wasn't working at all, and so I ended up trying to fix it so many times that the paper wasn't good anymore for inking. I had erased it too much. It was a mess. So what I do is I just take a piece of scrap Bristol and put it behind here, and then I just cut through it, both sheets, with like an X-Acto knife, and then I tape the other one on the back, and it takes the place of that panel. So I'm able to work it out somewhere else. And then, so I wanted to get his face right and the lighting right, and with the first 10, 12, 15, 20 passes on it, it just was not right. So I ended up redrawing that one. Page 19. I've definitely had to draw a lot of buildings in this book, and I think I'm getting better at it. But I am happy with a few of the things on here. I like the lighting on this brick wall here. I was trying to add more things that, a lot of times I think I've drawn alleys in the past, and I forget that alleys are full of all kinds of stuff, like wires and pipes and garbage and stuff running up and down the buildings like escape ladders. So I tried to remember that and put in those kind of things. It's easy, I think, when you're a comic book artist and you're trying to get stuff done quick, that you'll just draw the bricks and maybe a window and like, oh, there's an alley, But it's kind of nice when you can add just a few touches that make it feel a little more like an alley we've seen. If I was a braver person, I would have done a real fire escape going down, but to draw that at this perspective was not worth it to me. It was more important to have him and him be small in their panels in this moment, where they're kind of yelling, hey, yeah, sure, from far away. Oh, thanks for noticing the buildings. I appreciate that. Ellie, or I don't know if it's Ellie or Eli, but I do appreciate that. And then here's our final twisty page right here. Roger has burned his brother and father's billboard to the ground. So it's quite a thing to do when you first get superpowers. So this one was a lot of pressure because it's the last page. You want people to come back. You want people to think, oh, where's this going to go? You want people to see the potential. But then at the same time, it's like, oh, we want the script is like burning billboard, but make sure that it's clear that it's that it's the one of his dad. So I try to do that just by having a little piece of the face still visible here. And then I called it out to Mike. I was like, Mike, just make sure that still reads. And up here, the letter reads kind of as the original billboard. And Mike crushed the colors on this as well. He really sold this one and gave it a real sense of sort of nighttime ominous feeling. And the glowing eyes is very cool. It feels so hot, So I wanted the metal to feel like it's kind of melting and breaking apart, like it was superheated, and then the smoke to go up, and then have this sort of S curve layout, of like, the smoke into the fire and the cape, with his body cutting across it. And I tried to do a lot more solid blacks, which is something I've been doing more of. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Looks like I got a little pencil on there. This is another one that this page has. I don't know. This one has like so much Pro White on it back here. Like half of this cape is Pro White. I think I had a hatch in there before, and it was just like when I put the hatch down, the hatch lines, I was like, there's too much going on here already. You know, like let's simplify the back of the cape and get it back to white. Sometimes you got to just change course. So that is issue 1 of the SCHLUB. These pages, like I said, will be all for sale on my website in the very near future. If you want to be the first to find out about it, you can sign up for my newsletter, and those are the people that will be notified first when the sales happen. So head over to tyrellcannon.com and do that. And then if you haven't already, I would love it if you could put it on your pull list. Here's the covers for issue 2. We got my main cover and then Stegman's cover. Really proud of this cover, really proud of the second issue, and I think it just makes the world bigger and deeper. So if you could go make sure you have that pre-order on your pull list, that would be super, super awesome. And maybe get another one and give it to a friend and see what they think. Show them that cover, and they'll be like, holy shit, I gotta check this out, man. Because we have a lot of cool stuff coming up in the book. I'm trying to think if there was another... Oh, and if you like some of this, I did a little bit of original art preview, which included this cover on my last stream. So if you go to the stream from Tuesday, you can see some other original art walkthrough stuff that I did then. But yeah, thank you guys for checking it out. I hope that some of you might consider heading over to pick up some of these pages when they go for sale. But either way, if you could pick up the book, that would be great. And I really appreciate everybody for showing up and watching, and all the folks that bought the book. It's a dream come true, and it means a lot to me that you guys showed up for me. But it has been a very long day, and I still have some work to do, so I'm going to close the stream for now. And I hope you guys will join me. Hopefully next week I will be back to doing some live drawing on the stream, which is usually what I'm doing on these. And then as we roll into issue 2, maybe I can do some more original art walkthroughs if you guys like them. If you do like them, tell me in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that stuff, so that you're informed next time. So thanks a lot, everybody. Adam, Ellie, Marcus, Cottenham, Shannon, Stinkerbuns, BMC Comics, all you guys that showed up, Hollifield, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you guys in about a week. Go back and watch the first part if you missed it, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks, everybody.